All right, so I know I'm going to get a lot of fanboy heat on this one because I'm a big Zack Snyder fan. I love watching it. It's one of my favorite movies. Everybody knows that. So they're going to label me a fanboy. Well, I'm still going to do this thing. So, in order to disguise my identity, a la Superman. Okay, so I went into this film expecting an awesome movie that would elevate the comic book genre. Did I get an awesome movie? Absolutely. Did it elevate the comic book genre? An argument could be made. Maybe. Perhaps. Okay, it didn't elevate the comic book genre. Okay? However, a lot of the criticism this movie is getting, some of it is perfectly valid. I mean, it has its flaws, but a lot of it is just, what's the words I'm looking for here? Pansy-ass whining. A lot of it is pansy-ass whining. Okay, so I'm going to save you all the whining that the internet did about Ben Affleck being cast as Batman, okay? Because Batfleck is awesome. Also, I'm going to save you the whining because I did a lot of that whining myself. I was horrified that my new Batman was going to be Ben Affleck. Now I can't imagine anyone else playing Batman. I mean, this guy brought his Oscar caliber A game to this movie. He portrayed Bruce Wayne excellently. He did, Batman, I don't think we've seen a better Batman ever. I mean, all respect to Christian Bale, but I think when all is said and done, Ben Affleck is going to wear the Batman crown for all time. Well, at least till the next guy gets cast. The action sequences in this movie are incredible. I mean, Zack Snyder knows how to shoot action. I mean, he is known for it. And it's just so visually visceral. I mean, it's just amazing sequences. All the detail, everything that they captured about Batman's being a ninja, being a tactician, and being a hell of a brutal fighter. Remember, this is not the Batman you're used to. This is Batman at the end of his career. This is Batman after the death of Jason Todd. This is Batman after he snapped and has killed the Joker. This is not in the movie, but it is implied. I mean, at this point, Batman is killing people. He's literally branding them and just letting them die in prison. He's doing what must be done rather than living up to this ideal that he once pursued. The only explanation, if he's willing to kill random street punks, is that at this point he has killed the Joker. And it likely happened after the death of Jason Todd. At that point, I don't think that Batman was playing by the rules anymore. This is not something that has always been. This is something that's fairly recent development, as Alfred does point out how he is being perceived in the media now, he being Batman, how he is now being thought of as a criminal, whereas this might not have always been the case. Batman responds to this, or Bruce Wayne, or either way, responds to this by basically stating that they've always been criminals. But clearly something has changed. His tactics have changed to a level of brutality that was not there before. Casting Jeremy Irons as Alfred was brilliant, by the way. Fantastic job. We have seen Cavill play Superman before in the excellent Man of Steel flick, and he does an equally impressive job here of getting me to actually like Superman. I'm not the biggest Superman fan for various reasons, one of them being that he's so omnipotent that I don't feel he actually puts himself in any danger. These heroic things that he does are kind of bland and boring because of this. However, a good friend of mine convinced me that when Superman is written correctly, certain questions are posed about his character, and not so much what he can do, but what he should do and what he would be willing to do, and when can he walk away from his duty and just be a person. And that balance, that struggle, those trials and tribulations of being a a god amongst men, is what makes this Superman way more interesting than a lot of the Supermen that have come before him. And a lot has been said about his acting ability, Cavill that is, and I don't think anyone can dispute that he is a solid actor. He's a good actor, but Superman here is played a little stoic, and that comes across, but that's hardly his fault. It is mostly how that character is being written at this point. However, there are genuine moments of emotion in which he shines, and we get to see Superman's being fragile and being vulnerable, which is not something that we usually see. Gal Gadot is the weakest performer in this film. Not in the action sequences, she totally nails that, but her acting chops aren't quite where they need to be for her to be playing Wonder Woman. However, I did see a lot of potential for the Wonder Woman movie, and I'm gonna stay on her side here. I'm gonna keep in her corner because I think she has stuff that she hasn't shown us yet as an actress, and I think she is getting better. And as far as the action and the look and whatnot, if you're going strictly New 52 here, this she fits the bill pretty good. The fact that Doomsday is in this film came as no surprise to anyone, thanks to shitty marketing that showed us the ultimate battle of the movie before we even got in through the doors to watch the film. That was pretty stupid in and of itself. However, if that had not been done and Doomsday just popped up, it would have been more effective. Now, a lot of people are complaining about how this Doomsday's origin is completely different from his actual origin. I am totally cool with that because personally, I always found Doomsday to be a bit of a boring character. Now, his backstory is pretty badass, but it's more of a, here you go, this is how he came to be. And then once he came to be is go kill Superman. That's kind of like what he's always been, a big lumbering brute, in my opinion. That's what I got from Doomsday. So see him here as a mutation or a mutation of Zod. It doesn't at all do anything for me. And then there's this asshole. That's right, I said it. I called him an asshole. Because that's basically what he is portrayed as. He's just an asshole. Now, this is supposed to be Lex Luthor. Or is it? See, the film pretty much spells it out for you. This is Lex's son. Leaving the door open for an actual Lex Luthor to come into play later on. And I hope to God that is what they're doing. Because this is not Lex Luthor. He isn't terrible in the role, but his quirky mannerisms and just how his plans kind of fall apart due to his just becoming impatient and is impulsive, and it's not Lex Luthor. On one hand, he's planning things so meticulously, and on the other hand, he just says, fuck it. And he does shit like blows up courtrooms for no real reason. Maybe he didn't want Superman speaking to the world in his defense because he thought that he might try to sway the world one way or the other. But at this point in his plan, he wouldn't need the world's opinion on Superman anyway. He's trying to take him out via the bat. So I don't really understand. He's got this weapons program going on where he's developing a weapon to kill Superman. Or is he just developing a weapon to kill other Kryptonians? Nothing about his plan is solidified. So he is by far the weakest thing about this movie. And it's not enough to kill this movie. It's not enough to... definitely the good at this point is still way heavier and holds more weight than the bad. But I understand this criticism completely. Eisenberg, in this case, hashtag bad casting. A big criticism of this film is how the conflict between Batman and Superman ends. And I feel that this particular point in the movie is very much misunderstood. See, Batman and Superman have mothers. Well, Superman has two mothers, his Kryptonian mother and his Earth mother, but both their mothers are named Martha. And at the apex of this battle where Batman's got Superman right where he wants him, and he could end Superman. He's about to end Superman. Superman says they're going to kill Martha. And then Batman kind of freaks out. He's like, Martha, why are you saying that name? And he says, they're going to let Martha die. And he freaks out. He's like, why are you saying the name Martha? Why are you saying that name? Like, what do you know like about my pain, about Martha? And what do you mean I'm letting her die? So it freaks him out. Now, why people are surprised that this freaks out Batman is beyond me, because this is a man who's been carrying this trauma since he was a boy. This is going to freak him out, especially when he's about to just ram a kryptonite spear into a deity, much like Christ was killed by the spear of destiny. So the whole Jesus motif continues, that was first initiated in Man of Steel, carries on into Batman v Superman. So he's about to do this, and to top it off, Lois Lane runs into the battle and holds Superman, and Batman screams out, why is he saying that name? And she looks up and says, it's his mother. This is enough to give Batman pause, enough for him to regain his senses here. See, the whole reason Batman is fighting Superman is because this alien has come down from God knows where, from Krypton actually, and he's come here and he's just performing miracles, and he's doing all these things, and everyone's ignoring the fact that he could just destroy the whole planet if he wanted to. And at one particular point, I think this sums it up perfectly. Alfred says, you're going to go to war with Superman? And Bruce says, that son of a bitch brought the war to us. See, we tend to forget that the Kryptonians were here. Yes, maybe they would have found Earth as a compatible host for the Codex and for the World Engine eventually, but the reason why they came to Earth is because they were looking for Kal-El. They would have come here. They needed Superman. They needed the Codex. They needed to come here. So Superman really did bring that war to Earth. So as far as Batman, as far as Bruce Wayne is concerned, everything he's doing now is just him trying to make up for that horrendous responsibility of having brought that terror to this planet, and still walking about with the ability to destroy that planet. I agree with Bruce. If there's even a 1% chance that he is our enemy, we must take it as an absolute certainty. This is Bruce's motivation. He says, you're not a man, over and over again, which a lot of people misinterpret. They think that Batman is so macho that he's telling Superman that he's not a man. That is not what he is expressing there. He's saying, you're not a man. Men are heroic. Not something like you, who can't feel pain, who's not human, who isn't one of us. You're not heroic. You're not a man. But in that moment, when Lois Lane runs in, he sees this Earthling is with him. This Earthling is a loved one to him. She's here because she loves him, and he has a mother. He's a person. He's actually a person. He really is from Kansas, everybody. So it gives him pause, and he feels guilty. He feels ashamed. And that is why he stops the fight. That's why he doesn't kill Superman. It has nothing to do with the name Martha. It has everything to do with it, but not in the sense of how people are interpreting it. My final verdict is an 8. I can understand how somebody might go as low as a 7.5 or even a 7 with this film. I don't really understand how people can go as low as like 4 or 5 on this flick. I think it's a solid 8. It does have its problems, but the good far outweighs the negative here. Thank you for watching the video, and I would appreciate any feedback in the comments below. And till next time, this is Gabriel D. Priest saying goodbye.